Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I am your host, Davion, and I'm joined by Matt.
What up?
Kaden.
Yo.
And my favorite friend, Freddie.
What's good?
How are you doing, y'all?
Good. I feel a lot happier because you said I'm your favorite friend.
Freddie? You definitely top 20.
Well, that definitely warmed my heart.
But anyway, we are back talking about some football today. Today our topic of conversation will be in recent weeks we've seen the Cincinnati Bengals turn on that Cincinnati Bengals offense and defense that they had last season. Do we think they have a potential or a chance to make a run deep in the playoffs?
Yes.
No question.
I 100% think so because like this year, like after they were 0-2, no one expected them to be this good. Same with last year, no one expected them to go to the Super Bowl last year. Mm-hmm. So can't count them out.
Joe Burrow is currently third in MVP odds. He's been playing out his mind recently.
Good.
Without Jamar Chase.
That defense always just, for some reason, has a whole bunch of people that nobody wants, but they just seem to play out their mind these past few years.
I mean, they took Trey Hendricks away from the Saints, and he is a dog, an absolute dog.
They got the biggest menace, Eli Apple.
That bum.
He's a bum, but he does something, I guess.
He's playing better this season, I guess. Now, I haven't heard too much down talk on him. But, they started off the season losing to Pittsburgh. They lost to Dallas they lost both of these games by 3 points. They blew the Jets out. Then they blew out the Dolphins. Then they lost to the Ravens. So, then right there, they're sitting at what? 1, 2, 3. They're sitting at 2-3. All right. And so now you're like 5 weeks in, and you're stressed out. I don't think they've now gone in their last
1, 2, 3,
7,
4, 5, 6. They won 6 out of their last 7.
So they've completely turned it on and turned it around, and now they have the Browns this upcoming week with Deshaun Watson. So to finish out their season, they have the Browns.
They got a tough schedule.
Tampa Bay, who I think they'll blow out. Patriots, who I think they'll blow out. Bills and the Ravens, who I think they'll blow out.
Well, you think they'll blow out the Bucs?
I do. Well, not blow out, but they will beat the Bucs.
That's gonna be a tough game.
Really? Why do you think so?
Because it's just the front seven. Like Burrow's offensive line is still not that good, and Tampa Bay just always has great front lines, and also New England and Buffalo this year. Those 3 are just going to be tough. Browns, no, they can't tackle. Their defense is very lackluster.
You can make that claim, but we saw them go against probably one of the greatest front sevens last year in the Rams, and they were literally, even though they ended up losing, but they were a good offensive line play from being Super Bowl champions.
That's true.
So, I think they do beat the Bucs.
And here's the thing: they just beat a really, really good Chiefs team on Sunday Night Football.
Exactly.
Or not Sunday Night Football, but midday on football. So so I feel like with that resume, some would say that they haven't played anybody, and beaten them up until yesterday, because what they beat Tennessee.
No, they played people. I'm not discrediting them. Jets, Dolphins, Ravens aren't terrible. They're starting to look a little worse now with Lamar out.
At the time,
I don't think Tua was in for the Dolphins game though.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Jets weren't the Jets that we look at now at that point. But now
Tennessee's really good.
Which they have turned it on. But now we see a really good Chiefs team go into Cincinnati, or is it in Arrowhead?
I think it's in Cincinnati.
Go into Cincinnati, and Cincinnati hold their own. So I think that'll be good momentum throughout the rest of the season. I think 3-2, maybe 4-1 to finish out this season. I think the Bills is going to be a fun one. That's going to be a great game.
So they got 5 left. Yeah, at max, they're probably losing 2 of these games, not even.
Yeah.
It's just,
not even.
It's really just Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Honestly, Zach Taylor should get on his knees every night and pray that he
Literally.
was able to draft both of them. Joe Burrow's just arguably now is a top 5 quarterback. Like he just knows how to turn it on. I'll put him top 5.
No, I'm not mad at that at all. But I know some people who would be like, I agree though. I mean, I think even with the slow start to the season, he needs to be in MVP conversation. Because look, he was without Jamar Chase for what 4 or 5 weeks, and he's still putting up numbers, and he's still. I mean, they are.
And he also had Mixon out for 2.
Yeah.
So.
I think they're averaging dang near over 30 points a game.
And they
And Joe Mixon's out for the next couple of weeks, I think, too, with that concussion.
He might be back this week because this is his second week out in the concussion protocol. So they actually might be a lot better.
And they're a top 10 offense. They rank 7th in the 10th. 4th in passing yards, 8th in rushing touchdowns, 26th in rushing yards is pretty bad, but it's a passing league now. 7th overall in points 4 and 5 in yards. So I mean, offense is just like it's not missing a beat even without Jamar Chase, like you said, and Joe Mixon for 2 games. I don't really see him slowing down at any point.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're such a good team to watch as well. So saying that they were 1 play away from or 1 second realistically away from being Super Bowl champs. Looking at this team, do we think they're complete enough to win a Super Bowl? Because the run game, like you just said, they haven't been the best, but they can still hold their own. Do you think that like they're a complete team from top to bottom when it comes to this AFC, which is one of the strongest we've seen the AFCs in a long time?
I would say.
I mean, I would say yes, but I would say their biggest weakness would probably be like their secondary, like their corners, because I know their best corners out for the season, so I know that's like a big blow for them. But other than that, I feel like they can, but it's just like you just never know. You can't count them out because last year, who would have thought they would have went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Like you said, their secondary and it's their offensive line again. It's literally the same big concerns from last season that they're rolling with this season.
That they thought they buttoned up, but they, especially on the O-line.
Right. It's like they thought that they fixed all their offensive line problems, but also I will say their offensive line has played a lot better than when at the beginning of the season. So who knows? They might kick it in a whole other gear.
I mean, listen, talking about their cornerbacks and secondary, like they have to play at one point either these 3 teams, the Bills, Dolphins, or the Chiefs, and their offense, and those 3 offenses are the most high-powered offenses we've seen in a long time. Those teams can put 35 on you in a quarter. So you're really gonna have to like figure it out.
I know Freddie's gonna hate that I'm about to say this, but the only team that I see really beating the Bengals in the playoffs is the Bills. And the reason I say that is this is why I'm about to say this. The Bills were really a coin flip away from being in the AFC Championship game. Yeah. I'm not going to say that they win that coin flip, they go to the championship game, but they were rolling in that game. They were rolling through the playoffs. We like you said, we just seen the Bengals beat the Chiefs, and we've seen them beat the Titans, 2 teams that they had to beat in the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl. So I feel like the only team that's really going to be standing in their way is the Bills at the end of the day. The Dolphins, I don't think Tua just hasn't been there yet compared to like Dolphins. I'm not really worried about that. It's really just the Chiefs or the Bills, but I feel like the Bengals have a recipe to beat the Chiefs.
So go ahead.
Okay. Let me get on this for a second.
I got you. I saw you.
So basically, like, I see what you're saying, but like, here's the thing: the Bills' record in close games is like, I want to say it's like 4-10. They usually beat. They usually win in the game, but I feel like the Bengals game is going to come down to the wire, be a close game, and possibly it's going to be a shootout and going to overtime. And I just don't think the Bills would be the team to beat them. Like, even though, yeah, last year the Chiefs beat. I mean, they beat the Chiefs last year, whatever. But I don't really pay attention too much to the regular season because it all depends on the playoffs. It all depends on how the teams play in the playoffs. So, like, yeah, they beat them in the regular season, but like, can they do it again like they did last year and beat them in the playoffs again? I don't know.
I mean,
No.
for that to help your example, Freddie, Saints beat the Bucks twice 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, and then the
Right.
Bucks came right around and beat them in the playoffs. So
But
Right.
here's a major difference that I'm about to zero in on. Von Miller. Von Miller is the major, especially they're resting him. He could have came back sooner, but you're resting him for the playoffs because he pretty much got the division kind of locked up. Von Miller really is what helped the Rams win last season, and I don't see him slowing down in the playoffs, even coming off an injury. So I think just him is just on the defensive side of the ball, especially with that front seven, is just a whole nother dynamic factor.
No, I could definitely agree with that. He was definitely like high so far. It was the best free agent signing this year because literally he's the kid for the past Super Bowls he's been in. He's been a key component for why teams have won the Super Bowl. So like he seems right now, it seems like he's that missing piece that teams need to even have a chance in the Super Bowl. He literally. So yeah, I can see what you're saying,
I
but
mean,
also it's just.
I didn't realize how much of an impact he had.
He was
2 sacks in
really
both Super Bowls.
he was really crucial that whole playoff run for the Rams too.
He really was. You never know. Time will tell. So I'm not really ruling anything out.
And also, if the Bills do ink up Odell on a contract, I kind of have Bills as a Super Bowl favorite because the Rams don't win the Super Bowl with Odell playing out his mind in that first half, even though he got hurt.
Yeah.
But we saw when he got hurt, the Rams didn't really have no answers for the Bengals.
I mean, listen, if they sign OBJ, I think we see a very polarizing attack. It's almost like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but just taller. And so I feel like if that happens, there's no team with corners good enough to guard those two players.
Yeah,
and Gabriel Davis, mind you.
And let's be real,
Davis.
he's gonna be the one that produces the most because you got to put your number 1 and your number 2 on OBJ and Stephon Diggs. There's no 3 that and Davis has showed that he could be arguably one of the better receivers in the league, even behind Stephon Diggs. And so that's it's interesting, man. But any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Who's winning the Super Bowl this year?
Honestly, I have to wait to see where Odell signs. I feel like the Super Bowl lies in between Odell's hands right now.
So before injury, I would have said the 49ers.
Oh,
I'm gonna
I could kind
say,
of agree with that.
But after injury, it's gonna be arguably it's gonna be an AFC team. Plain and simple. Bills. It's gonna be between the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals. That's it.
I already know who I'm gonna pick.
Who?
Bro, the Chiefs.
Oh,
I'm
Chiefs.
telling you, I picked it before the season started. And to me, they've lost some games. It's just like, what? But we are in the regular season. That's the thing. So, like, it does. Like the Chiefs in the playoffs is, even though they lost last year, I just don't see that happening again.
I mean, Mahomes is arguably an MVP right now.
Literally,
I was gonna say,
he's one of one.
I was gonna say my hot take. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs too, but I also think Mahomes will be like one of the first QBs in a while to win an MVP and win a Super Bowl. So
yeah,
that's my bold take.
Um,
And get a Super Bowl MVP.
I think the Bills come out the AFC. NFC. See, they're gonna be the Cowboys, the Eagles, but I'm just gonna
Or the Vikings. I'm throwing in the Vikings.
Vikings just don't have a defense, so I'm gonna go Bills versus. I'll say Cowboys, and
I got a hot take. I'm gonna say it, and if I get clipped, so be it.
I feel like both of them are gonna make it. That's
My hot take
just,
is whenever I think what's the kid's name? The rookie that's gonna take over for San Francisco right now.
Brock Purdy.
He is gonna have. He's gonna play to the best of his ability to the end of the season and get the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl and win it.
I could see that.
Let me tell you why. Y'all said you could throw any you could throw a monkey and he can manage that team, right? So that monkey will, I feel like. And if you put Baker in, I think that's where you lose. That's all I'm saying.
But one last thing I'll say. I think the Super Bowl does lie in the NFC between the 49ers. I'll throw the Vikings in there, Cowboys or Eagles, just because all four of those teams have the best defenses in the league.
You're right, but I feel like when you look on the AFC, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals have the three of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah,
you can say the same about the Eagles, Vikings, and
I agree, but I feel like
Cowboys.
in the league right now, I think it's between the Chiefs and the Bills with the best offenses in the league.
But like the old saying goes, offenses, like, I can't even remember, but defenses win championships.
You're right.
Defense does win championships.
Unless you and yeah, well, I guess so.
When I go back to, I don't know. I believe in Patrick Mahomes in that team. Honestly, I'm just saying.
Well,
Like,
And
I
then,
don't know. I just see. I don't know. Buffalo, I like them a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it. Like Buffalo, it seems like they always come in the AFC as AFC favorites.
yeah.
over the past
Right.
three seasons max.
Yeah, like they've been AFC favorites, and I'm tired of hearing that. I just want to see it instead of hearing that.
I think we'll see this season.
It's gonna be fun and scary watching how this plays out because it's gonna be insane. It's just gonna be. People are gonna be. There's gonna be some good football games, especially in the playoffs.
Tom Brady's probably somewhere lurking on this podcast, building a chip on his shoulder.
No, I will say that I think Buccaneers are going to go come out to the NFC. That's my hot take.
It's the only thing with him, you can't count Tom Brady out. But
I'm telling you, you can't count him out.
I think they've been smoking a little bit too much. So let's get up out of here. I I appreciate y'all for joining me, Freddie, Matt, Kaden. Thank y'all for joining. Yeah. My name is Davion. I've been your host today, and this has been the post game. Peace.